all the news that I might have missed during the morning. Mm. You know what I'm saying? So, YouTube and now TikTok. Yeah, yeah, some of that. Hey, let's get started here because we need to talk about some lunch break news. Yes, sir. You know, I got some stuff I got to get off my chest, but let's just go ahead and tackle some of today's headlines. Like, first of all, the CPI numbers came out today, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, the investors are happy. I mean, that don't mean nothing good for us though, because honestly, with these inflation numbers and situation, that means the poor is going to be affected. I mean, not the poor, the people that are having to actually pump their own gas, because a lot of wealthy Americans do not pump their own gas, believe it or not, in case you did not know. So, like I said, those CPI numbers came out today. What it was saying is that basically, we aren't okay. Basically, they're saying that the economy is slowing down. We was a little bit worried about deliveries and stuff, and they're saying they're not worried about that anymore. I'm not worried about those factors. Matter of fact, when the CPI report came out today, all I know is it is nothing like the PCE report. Y'all, I want y'all to look at the PCE report. Now, that's the type of report that we really need to be gauging. Now, one of the things about the CPI numbers that came out, it was that, rent's going up. Rent is the number one thing that we got to be concerned with. I'm going to need people to start buckling down. Rent is going up. Let me get back to some other news that was also reported today. Stocks are possibly overbought. There's a lot of weakness in China. Commodities are falling. And real investors are saying, that there's low risk out there. I'm talking about you should invest in low risk stocks. Basically, everybody right now, though, is so happy with these CPI numbers. They're going to invest in high risk stocks. That's what's going to happen. That's what they end up doing. Now, one of the things that concerns me and that we're going to have class about is that there's a money flow cycle. Everybody that has a business has to adhere to the money flow cycle. If you're on my TikTok, you can check out a couple of videos where I have talked about the money flow cycle. So let me tell you something. Because people aren't doing their business correctly in the correct money flow cycle, we're having problems. Now, I know that when the rest of the globe is having a weaker economy, America does better. That's kind of how that works. But we are suffering from some stuff here in America, starting with the fact that we got Christmas coming, right? Retailers, are y'all listening to me, Facebook? Are you listening to me, YouTube? Retailers literally have too much inventory. And the way that the working capital money flow cycle goes, it goes like this. You start off with cash in your company. You take that cash and then you purchase the things you need to sell. We call it, for short, inventory. Then we have to sell said inventory. If we don't sell said inventory, the cash flow money cycle is going to actually have a problem. So what ends up happening is then a lot of people decide to go ahead and do some accounts receivables, which is the next step in this whole money flow cycle. It's only 3 steps in this money flow cycle: cash, then inventory, and then accounts receivable, then back into cash. What's happening is our retailers are not turning their cash, their inventory back into money. And this is happening in real time. So when these CPI numbers and stuff like that come out, please don't be disillusioned, because real numbers, like the fact that people are going to be paying more for rent, the fact that utilities are going up, that stuff is very real for the wintertime season. And I just want to say that. Now, we also have some issues as far as people like Wendy's. Wendy's is complaining right now, y'all. Wendy's is really kind of complaining. I don't know why they're complaining, because I've been to Wendy's. Matter of fact, that's where I got my lunch. This is lunch break. But Wendy's is feeling the crunch. They're saying that there's not a lot of people coming to Wendy's. I don't know what y'all doing, but the cost of goods sold, right, Ron? Exactly, Ron. The COGS. People don't understand that every sale costs money. Every time you have a sale, it costs you some money to make that sale. So the difference between that is called the gross profit. And literally, a lot of companies aren't enjoying a lot of gross profit. They're so happy with their sales. I got sales. Fuck the sales. How much did them sales cost you? Yeah, and that's why you're sitting there right there. And I'm going to tell you something else before I go on any tangent. A lot of reasons why small companies are not getting where they need to go, they don't even do valuations. Why aren't you valuating your business? You know what? I had a client yesterday. I'm not even going to talk about it. What I'm going to say right here is every time you file an income tax return, every time you file an income tax Schedule C for your business, that is considered a profit and loss statement. You know, when you want to go and get certification, they're like, where's your P&L? What's your profit and loss? Well, you get it every time you do a Schedule C. Every time you do your income taxes for your business, your Schedule C, that is a profit and loss statement for your business. You give me 3 of those, and I will create you a nice little balance sheet. And then we can create a nice cash flow analysis. I'm going to teach you guys how to do your own cash flow analyses, but remember I said some products you will have to pay for as far as my courses. Some will be free. Those courses are not free. But I digress. Let's get into some other news while we're on lunch break, y'all, because we don't really got time. Wendy's? Are you serious, Wendy's? So anyway, and I'm gonna just say this: every real investor right now has one leg in the late cycle of energies and one leg in the late cycle of utilities right now. I'm gonna just say that. I'm just gonna put that on record, and I'm gonna be like this right now: do not mess with Coinbase right now. If you're doing stocks, don't mess with Coinbase. Look at what's going on with Twitter. I do want y'all to look at what's going on with Twitter. Yeah, baby, because Elon Musk sold about $6.9 billion worth of his shares just because he might have to own up to his responsibilities towards Twitter. Now, what is the problem with that? So let's go ahead and see what Morning Brew talked about today. The Serena Williams countdown has begun. Oh, they say U.S. Open tickets are not going to be cheap this year, y'all. So get ready. What else is Morning Brew talking about? Oh, Legos. Legos turned 90 years old today. Y'all can talk about that at the water cooler. For my black people that are in white environments and you have to keep the conversation kind of white, tell them that today is Lego Group's 90th birthday, and to celebrate the milestone, I got a couple little extra things that you can check out about Legos, but Lego manufactures more tires than any other company. Did y'all know that? Lego manufactures more tires than any other company, and in 2012, it said that nearly half of its sets included a wheel of some sort. It said Lego bricks are universal. A brick you buy now will interlock with one you have laying around from 1958. Lego also boasts that 6 2x4 Lego bricks can be combined in 915,103,765 different ways. If you ever get bored. Okay, so enough of that news. Okay, let's move on to other lunch break news. Of course, it was CPI Day. I just told you about it. That, the investors are happy, but I'm not, because the low-income community is going to be suffering. Basically, whenever interest rates go up, the hiring, because hiring, wages, they're about to pay people a lot more money. And because people are about to get paid a lot more money, anyway, you know that Biden unleashed the chips. It said that Biden signed the CHIPS Act yesterday, kicking into gear one of the federal government's largest investments in American industrial capacity. This bipartisan law will provide $52 billion in subsidies to chip makers in the hopes that they'll build their massive foundries in the States rather than overseas. You know what I'm saying? As well as pour more funding into R&D of high-tech industries, and right on cue, like I told y'all yesterday, Micron, y'all need to look that up. The company Micron said it'll spend $40 billion on chip-making factories in the United States by 2030. Well, it's not that it's a day late and a dollar short, Micron, but my God. So also, y'all, listen, Morning Brew reported too that the gaming companies, they're getting stuck in their own shadow right now. And they said that the video games are cool, but have you ever went outside before? Wendy. Okay, yesterday, Roblox became the latest gaming company to report weaker than expected earnings for the second quarter. So not only did the gaming platform not have as many daily active users as analysts predicted, but its users didn't even buy as much of the Roblox in-game currency and main source of revenue, Robux, which I always said this was the beginning of cryptocurrency. When I found out about crypto, I thought to myself, Roblox made it to mainstream because it didn't have no intrinsic value. Okay, anyway, I digress. And then look at people like Elon Musk. He will sell them shares quick as he them. So I digress. And so it seems that the gaming company's button got stuck this summer because Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, Electronic Arts, EA Sports. Okay, I'm sorry. Take-Two Interactive. Hey, Bunka Bud. Hey, good afternoon. It says that they all reported slowdowns compared to last year. Now, I know this is because we're not in the pandemic mode anymore, but, ooh-wee. So what's going on as we're zooming out along Rainbow Road? No, whoever that is. The pandemic, but now that we're slowing down, for one, people are touching grass again. I'm going to just say it like that. We're just going to say it like that. Instead of just doing some old freaking Candy Crush or whatever, we doing outside. So, yeah, gaming companies and, yeah, internet-based situations, yeah, technology companies, you're going to feel it because we're going back outside. So, plus that semiconductor shortage and supply chain snag, it just restricted the console sales anyway. So, finally, 22 is a video game drought. So just know that basically because developers struggle to churn out AAA titles. I mean, they had nothing that made us want to play. And I'm an original gamer. I'm one of them. So like for real, y'all didn't give me no AAA title games out, no gaming people. And the release dates for a laundry list of major games got pushed back. We ain't got time for all of that. And did y'all know that Domino's got kicked out of Italy because they wasn't able to give them the 880 different establishments? They was only able to give them 29. I digress. Let's move on to key performance indicators before y'all go back into work. And I give y'all some more water cooler news that y'all can talk about that is everybody friendly, universal, right? So here's a stat. You ready? The pay gap between men and women starts to form very early in professional careers. Now, we kind of felt that, didn't we? Just 3 years after graduation, according to a new Wall Street Journal analysis of data that's basically came from 2015 and 2016 graduates, basically in nearly 75% of undergrad or graduate programs across 2,000 universities, the median pay for men topped that of women 3 years post-graduation. This is a problem. Men's median earnings exceeded women by at least 10% in nearly half of all the programs. I just wanted to just put that in your ear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's talk about that pay gap between men and women since we got to go back into work. So y'all want to hear this quote? Here's a quote of the next thing. People are dropping weekly here. Let me read that. It says, Mo Nuhali, a UPS driver in Las Vegas, spoke with The Guardian about the grueling conditions he and other company drivers have been facing due to extreme heat. So extreme heat is basically plaguing Las Vegas, but Mo Nuhali, a UPS driver in Las Vegas, basically he had a viral Twitter post last week from the Teamsters Union showed a collage of brutally high temperature readings from the UPS vehicles. One indicated 121.4 degrees Fahrenheit on the thermometer. It is hot out there. Shut. Oh my goodness. The Teamsters are demanding that the UPS reveal the steps that it's taking to protect these workers from heat. So I'm going to encourage all UPS drivers, please take pictures of the heat gauges in your trucks. You're welcome. And why? We need to watch out for, why does the IRS, why do they need an extra $80 billion? This is a good question, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to just ask that real quick. Now, again, like I said, don't invest in Coinbase. Coinbase reported a dramatic slowdown in trading volumes last quarter. Basically, from 462 billion to 217 billion. That's dramatic. That's damn near half. Also, here's the news that I really want to spend at least the next 10 minutes on before we go back into work. Now, some of us don't have to work. We have the luxury of being at home and have a lot of free time. I know I'm flexing, but for those that do and that are sneaking in on here on my live, let's talk about it. So let's start with this. The House Democrats are entitled to review former President Trump's tax records. Get this. From only 2015 to 2020. Now, a federal appeals court panel ruled this. You know what I'm saying? And Trump does have a week to appeal. And your boy, he already said he's not going to do this. But I wanted to get deeper into this subject, right? So, you know, of course, the Washington Post had a lot to talk about. So, let's see what the Washington Post said. They said that the House can view Trump's tax records. This is what the appeals court has said. You know, it says a federal appeals court panel ruled Tuesday that House Democrats are entitled to review Donald Trump's tax returns from 2015 to 2020, basically rejecting several legal arguments by the former president. He's been seeking for years to keep his financial records private, and this was an issue for me because everybody else got to give up their business. You know what I'm saying? I know a whole bunch of people right now that are sovereign, that do not want to even give up their social security number. So, you know, I understand all of this, but this man was running for president, and we could not even see his records, his financial records. Oh, no, he kept those private until now. Now, see, I hope he's not a nationalist because, honestly, Trump is a closet Democrat. I'm going to just tell y'all that right now. Trump is a closet Democrat. For all that doesn't know, Trump really is low-key a Democrat. I'm going to be honest with you. He just knows how to do the whole Republican thing. And he does it very well. And you guys are being played like fiddles if you are a Republican that believes he is not really a Democrat. That's the real conspiracy theory y'all need to be checking out, conservatives. But it said that the decision by a three-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, this was a victory for the House Ways and Means Committee, whose chairman, Representative Richard E. Neal, Democrat from Massachusetts, first requested this in 2019, that the Internal Revenue Service turn over copies of Trump's tax returns to the committee. So the Treasury Department initially declined And the issue had been tied up in litigation ever since. So basically, the former president has a week to appeal the panel's ruling, including asking the full appellate court to hear the case before the judgment takes effect. Now, Trump's attorney, this guy named Cameron T. Norris, who is handling the appeal, he did not immediately respond to a request for any kind of comment. So we will move right on to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's Democrat from California, Auntie Pelosi. She applauded the decision, as such as I, calling it an important victory for the rule of law. For those that care about the rule of law, this is a victory for us. Now, this is a victory. See, access to the former president's tax return is crucial to upholding public interest, our national security, and our democracy. See, Pelosi said this in a statement, and she said, "We look forward to the IRS complying with this ruling and delivering the requested documents so that the Ways and Means can begin its oversight responsibilities of the mandatory presidential audit program." That's what Auntie Pelosi said. So, moving right along in the Washington Post reported news. Now, who did this wonderful report? And we got to cite this person. This was done by Paul Dugan. Now, he did this at 2:46 p.m. yesterday. Go on, Paul Dugan, for the Washington Post. It says, "Democracy dies in darkness." I like that, Washington. Democracy dies in darkness. So, let me finish spinning on my favorite topic of the day. And so after Trump left office, the committee in 2021 renewed its request for his tax returns. And Biden's administration, their Treasury Department, agreed to provide this information, which prompted a lawsuit by Trump. Naturally, you know what I'm saying? But in trying to keep his records private, Trump asserted that the committee had no legitimate legislative purpose for seeking the tax returns, that the committee was violating the separation of powers, that the law allowing the committee to review tax returns is facially unconstitutional, and that the Treasury Department, in agreeing, just by agreeing to turn over the records, was violating. So Trump's constitutional rights, is what he was saying is violated, and that we were retaliating against him. Because I say we, because I'm with the law. And you know what? The appellate panel rejected all 4 arguments, sir. Have several seats, sir. So, the committee has identified a legitimate legislative purpose that requires information to accomplish the ruling. To accomplish this situation. Basically, the mere fact that the individual members of Congress may have political motivations as well as legislative ones is of no moment. Indeed, it is rare that an individual member of Congress would work for a legislative purpose without considering the political implications. As for the separation of powers, this case has required much discussion on the intrusion by Congress into executive branch and the personal life of Trump and the burden that such intrusions impose. So, the decision says, while the burden is concrete, it is tenuous at best. It is insufficient to require us to enjoin the chairman's request for the return information. So in rejecting Trump's claims that the law that allows the committee to review tax returns is unconstitutional, the ruling says, this statute can be properly applied in numerous circumstances, including the one before the court. And the panel rejected the assertion that President Biden's Treasury Department was violating Trump's constitutional rights by acting on any kind of improper motive or retribution when it agreed to the committee's request for the tax returns. So, they went on to quote and say this: the improper motive must be a but-for cause of the government action, meaning that the adverse action against the plaintiff would not have been taken absent of the retaliatory motive. the ruling notes. You know what I'm saying? Trump cannot show, and I repeat, Trump cannot show that the Treasury's decision to comply with this 2021 request would not have happened absent of a retaliatory motive. He can't. So, we just got to lay that to bear. We got 5 minutes left. And, I'm a big softie. I got a big heart. You know what I'm saying? And I'm concerned about something that I read a few days ago. And I just wanted to report this, you guys, to you on your lunch break while you're eating lunch. All right. On February 24th, as reported in Business Insider on August 1st, this was August 1st that I saw this actual article reported by Business Insider. It says on February 24th, Russia invaded Ukraine, causing unimaginable death and destruction, shaking up the post-World War II global order, and setting off a humanitarian crisis in the country. Amid the horror of war, the missile attacks, the brutal occupation, basically, a slower moving crisis basically picked up some speed. What is the crisis? The crisis is a shortage of food staples, grains, and fertilizer. The invasion, combined with COVID-19 pandemic and the climate crisis, has put the world's food supply under unprecedented strain. The war in Ukraine has basically far-reaching ramifications on the way we eat. Every corner of the world is feeling it. But developing nations are bearing the brunt of the food crisis, and more struggles are sure to follow. If you worry about domestic politics, if you worry about environmental matters, if you worry about immigration matters, if you worry about diplomacy in the military, you should be paying attention to this food crisis because it's lurking in the background and it's pushing things. And this was actually literally, I'm quoting an economist and a food policy expert at Cornell University named Chris Barrett. After Russia's invasion, insiders spent the next few months unpacking what basically this means for consumers. So the insider used their networks of journalists to do some kind of on-the-ground reporting in California, Florida, Nigeria, South Africa, the UK, Spain, Germany, the Netherlands, India, Japan, and Singapore to reveal the struggles with rising costs as well as growing, selling, and buying food. And basically, insiders spoke to a farmer in Kenya about what the rising cost of fertilizer means for them and unpacked how climate crisis is making all of our food very vulnerable. The impact of the food crisis is beginning to be felt far and wide, and cracks in the global food supply chain is spurred by a combination of this climate, these political events, because right now Kenya is in the process of electing a new president. According to my sources, because y'all know that I'm a global accountant, according to my sources in Kenya, they really want Ruto to win. So come on, ancestors! We want Ruto to be the president in Kenya. And like I said, it's according to some of my insider sources, because I'm an accountant to the globe. I'm an international accountant. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to talk to y'all on the flip side. If there's anything else, oh my goodness. And BlackRock is attempting to get it. Come on. Now listen, we're going to probably have to talk about this over some happy hour drinks. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the stocks that I was interested in and I think that y'all should be interested in and checking out, like I said yesterday, I need y'all to check out Bed Bath & Beyond. I want you to see what's going on with Tesla, this place called Palantir, Target. I want you to see what's going on with Netflix. I want you to see what's going on with, like I said, do not, play Wendy's like they is, but Wendy's is saying that they going through it. So anyway, y'all, this is about over. Don't forget to follow me, like, share, support your girl. Always double tap the screen. I don't really need gifts of that sort. I just need to know that what I'm talking about is relevant to you, because that's my mission. I was raised by some Masonic grandparents, and come to find out, I'm community oriented. Shout out to Luella and Edward Johnson the Great. Yeah. So I'll talk to y'all on the flip side. Love, peace, and hair grease. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Yeah, you already know Facebook. And my YouTube. Peace. Yeah, let's go on and end this.